everyone, welcome to another episode of Vixey's Healing Room. Vixey's Healing Room is a platform created for those who feel lost, a safe space, more to say, or so to say, for healing and for growth. First of all, I'd like to appreciate you all for the positive response, the mad love that was shown to us on the first episode. We're doing this again. Today, we are going to be discussing a very, very important topic, a topic that cannot be overemphasized, a topic that we need to talk about again and again and again and create some kind of mad awareness about. But before we start and before I disclose the topic for today, I'd like to introduce two delectable ladies in the studio with me today. I have to my left Dr. Ugolanwigwe, the founder and creative head of the iPlace NG. And to my right, I have Ife Uzoiwolo, a mad therapist. So, back to the topic of the day. Today's topic is going to be centered around, or we're going to be discussing, breaking the stigma around mental health. Interesting, right? We are going to do justice to this today. I'm not sure we can finish, but we will start. So, ladies, would you like to say something first before we start? We start to speak. Would you like to say something?
Well, first of all, I would just want to thank you for having me. I'm very honored to be here, to be a part of this very, very important conversation. So I hope that at the end of this podcast or edition, we would be able to create more awareness around the stigma surrounding mental health and possibly add to the body of work that will help destigmatize it.
Very important.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for showing up.
It's an honor to be part of this edition of this program, and hopefully we can pass a message or help one or two people out there that are struggling, because a lot of people are struggling with this thing. So hopefully at the end of this edition or this topic, a lot of people will be helped.
Okay, so ladies, this topic is something that is very, I don't even know the right word I'm looking for, but it's so important, and yet people are not so aware, of the need to come out to speak up. Can we talk and have a discussion around, can we define what we think, the stigma on mental health or around mental health is? What does it say to you? What do you think about when you hear that word, the stigmatization around mental health? What comes to your mind? What comes to mind?
The stigma around mental health for me, I would say, is predominantly built on cultural and societal norms.
Right.
I think that we come from a culture where issues around mental health are seen as some sort of disability. It's a thing of shame. So we don't create an environment where people are open to discuss the challenges that are faced around their mental health, which is crazy because WHO definition of health says that health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease.
Okay.
So I find it very interesting that we are very upfront about physical health and perhaps sometimes social, but when it comes to mental health, we kind of shrink.
Yeah.
But I think that I also put it down to the fact that physical health has markers, right? If you have a headache, you can actually put a finger to say that I have a headache or I have an inflammation.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to mental health, because there are no physical markers, it's a bit difficult to express how you feel, right? So mental health is something that everybody has, but it's a continuum. So we are all on that thread, but on different parts of the thread.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I'm really glad that we are beginning to become more aware about it and speaking openly about it.
Yeah. What comes to mind when you hear the stigma around mental health? What comes to mind? What does it say to you?
Shame. Most people are ashamed of expressing themselves.
That's right.
How they feel, how they view things, how they perceive things, how they feel about something. Mostly people see it as a form of weakness. To say, oh, I feel a certain kind of way, or someone's acting out in a certain kind of way, and some people just think, this one don't grace, or this one is not normal, or people just play it down. Yeah, people just play it down. Like, people see, like, when someone has an outburst of maybe anger or something, or someone is just emotional about something, and they see it like, wait till they do this one, or what's wrong with this one. So the first thing that comes to mind is that weakness, shame. Like, so people are not what's the word I'm looking for?
So they're hesitant to
come and say, oh, this is how I feel about it. So people are reluctant to express themselves. So people don't see them as being weak or not being capable, in a certain way. So that's the first thing that comes to mind. And so we need like platforms like this to talk about it. So people can be free. People just know that it is okay to feel a certain kind of way. It is okay to be angry. It is okay to not have it all together all the time. It's part of
want to speak to somebody about
yes. Like she said, it's like a continuous, like a rope, and we are all on
different parts of the different,
exactly.
Of that
so some people are stronger, some people are weaker, but at the same time, we all have our weaknesses when it comes to mental health.
So, do you think this is very particular on a particular gender? Do you think that the male is male dominant or female dominant, or you just think that everybody is equally balanced? Do you think that some people are favored? It's okay for some people or a particular gender or sex to talk that it's okay for them to talk about it, and some people it's not okay to talk about it. What do you think society favors a particular gender when it comes to mental health?
That's a very interesting and complex question because there's different perspectives to it. I kind of think the question is leading because somehow you've already answered it.
Or she has favored one.
I think I kind of know the direction you're wanting us to head, and I will go there. Yes, in some way, I would say that women are favorably disposed to be comfortable around conversations that concern mental health. Women are seen or assumed to be the more emotional gender. So it doesn't go out of the norm for a woman to be emotionally expressive. And for that reason, I think that women also kind of build more intimate connections. Women have stronger friendships.
Right.
So,
Well, okay.
Yes, I'll tell you for free that women have deeper and stronger friendships than men. Men throw money on everything. Do you understand? Right? If I had some issue and I needed some resources that guys can just, but you see, the woman that would hold you down. Do you understand? In ways that money cannot,
something that
bridge that gap.
Right.
So I think that because of the gender disparity in terms of how women and men are expected to present themselves, women are favored when it comes to being freer to talk about mental health related issues. That is just a perspective. I'll let Ify talk so that we can now build on that.
I think I'm leaning towards that. Personally, I feel based on personal experiences, professional experiences, societal, all of that, I feel the men are more, for lack of a better word, endangered when it comes to mental and emotional issues. Like she said, women are more. It's more normal for a woman to cry about something. She has a bad day, she cries. She's on her period, she throws a tantrum. Exactly. I mean, she breaks her phone. She flips. She doesn't have money. She doesn't have money, and everybody has to be on her bad side. But a guy doesn't have that liberty to come and say, "Oh, something as simple as I've had a bad day. You know, to come and say, guy or my girl, I've had a bad day, so and so happened, and you know, just generally just show weakness. They won't see him as a man.
So there has to be this macho.
So it has to be that thing of be a man, which I hate anyways.
Yeah, and I think that thing of society. That's
where society comes in.
Yeah,
that thing society. Of be a man. I think
men do not think that it's okay to be vulnerable.
I think it hurts the men the more. Because when you can't express yourself, I mean, you're a human being, it can't be rosy all the time. There has to be room for you to say, oh, I'm not doing so well, or, you know, I don't feel so good about something.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
And I quite agree, because sometime last year I went on Hot FM. There was this discussion centered around mental health. And to be honest, I said that the men have it, I think they have it worse. Because society expects them to be all macho. They can't express themselves. It's not okay to be vulnerable. So and I feel like if you bottle these things inside, there has to be a way that you're letting it out. There has to be a way you're letting. A woman can cry, and that way, when you cry, you let out
a healthy way.
It helps you.
A healthy way, because I feel that even though men don't have healthy ways to let it out, which is the ideal, they have more privilege of being able to let it out in unhealthy ways.
Yes.
The woman cannot be seen to be drinking. Do you understand? Even though alcohol is not
hanging out too late,
it's not a solution. Smoking and stuff like that. So yeah, men do not have it good when it comes to creating safe spaces and allowing that vulnerability for them to express themselves. So yes.
This is very interesting.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting. Also, I was trying to read up on, try to do some research and all about this and on this topic. And there was this research or this study, a Harvard University study that said that 70% of men or people, 70% of people would not come out to say, I have mental health issues or challenges. I mean, it's there. But because of the fear of stigmatization, the fear of being judged,
of seeing less than
shame, they just withdraw and they do not come out. That study also said that society favors women the most because it's okay for a woman to come out and say, I have this issue, I have that. Society says, oh, because you're a woman, so it's okay. You're just being a woman.
But
women,
also,
the weaker sex, whatever,
I also think that it's important for us to even deconstruct what mental health is.
Break it down.
Yeah. Because I think that when people think mental health, they think depression.
Yes,
they think
crazy.
You're bipolar. Yes.
Like mental health could be as I'm not trying to diminish anxiety.
Yeah.
But it could be in the little things like feeling anxious,
how you even react to
social anxiety, right? If you are in a space that requires that you interact, for instance, you're an introverted and you're required to speak publicly, that anxiety that comes with going out of character because your job calls for it.
Right.
Things as little as that. So I think that if we are able to actually understand mental health holistically, just the way physical health could go from headache to cancer.
Yeah.
So whole right
from
range
from mild to severe.
So people would be more comfortable to talk about it. And I think we also need to be conscious of our choice of words.
Correct.
We should be conscious about how we interact with people, how we label people. So these are things that we really need to be talking about so that we can completely deconstruct and destigmatize issues around mental health.
True. I remember, I worked in hospital for the most part, and I remember that somebody walked in one of those days and he was advised to see, I think he had some anxiety, and he said, okay, you have to see a psychologist. And he said never.
Say, I'm not mad.
Exactly. That's the word he used. So this is me trying to convince. Like, say, a psychologist is just somebody that it's like a therapist. Speak to you and. When I say psychiatrist,
exactly, I was going to say that.
Whenever say psychiatrist,
they don't go that far. They don't think there's a difference.
Yeah, they don't understand that.
The guy just goes berserk, like, no, I'm not mad. My office cannot even hear that I say psychologist. And I'm like, well, these are the real issues. These are the real issues. People need to understand. They need to be schooled about these things. They need to be more aware. You can talk. Abroad, people talk to people. Therapists are they earn big money because people walk in and speak to them.
But can I tell you, I'm speculating because now this is not evidence-based.
Okay.
But I would like to posit that one of the reasons we struggle with mental health conversations in Nigeria is religion.
Sure.
We are very religious
in this part of the world.
So, and I think that to some extent, religion allows room for judgment.
Yeah.
In some ways. So people would have concerns that if they went to a therapist who has some religious inclination, they are likely to be judged. And I've seen it happen. Do you understand? I've seen therapists who have come on Twitter to have conversations around, because they already have an ideology. They have their own dogma that they believe in, and it doesn't matter what you say. I would expect that a therapist or a psychologist would lead with empathy.
Yeah, that's it.
That's what it should be. But we are a deeply religious society, so for the most part, that precedes anything else. So it's really complex because our society has made it so. So these are conversations we need to have to say that there's room for mental health conversations even in the church. The same reason you would go to church and still go to the hospital if you have a headache.
You also go to church.
Two things can coexist.
Yes. Yes.
So that's what I wanted to point out.
That's very interesting.
Because speaking from a professional point of view, I approach each case per client. So what's peculiar to this person? It's not the same thing as you could have two people that have the same issues, but the underlying factor is different.
The same context.
Different.
Very different.
I would deal with it differently.
Yep.
So you will say because Mr. A has this issue and Mr. B has this issue, the way I handle Mr. A is how I handle Mr. B. Doesn't work.
There's no template.
Doesn't work. There's no blanket rule. So religion doesn't come into it. Gender most times don't come into it, depending on what the problem is. So you need to approach it from a point of empathy and a humane point of view. And then you also learn to remove yourself personally, so you don't react. Do you understand? So you need to be able to say, okay, this is the issue. We are handling it. We're handling the issue. I'm not handling you now.
We're handling the issue.
We're handling the issue. Yeah. So you can be able to even deal with someone you're not in good terms with, but you keep that aside, and then you deal with what you need to deal with.
Wear your professional cap and do what you have to do.
That's another problem we have in this part of the world. Most people attach, because you're my friend's enemy. I will not give you the
your evil, therefore.
Do you understand?
Money related.
Yes.
Because you don't have money, right?
You're on this level, so let me,
Yeah, so it
spoils everything.
Yeah.
It spoils everything.
I was listening to this podcast and I said what I said. I like them a lot.
Yeah.
And they were talking about therapy, and she said there's this therapist that she would really have loved to go to, but she's her mom's friend. And you could just tell that even though we know theoretically that these things should be separated,
exactly,
her mother will hear that thing. Your mother is going to hear that there's one voice that broke your heart, and
that you've done,
or you took her money, you went to go, that kind of thing. So I wish we could completely remove ourselves from
the situation
and just handle it on issue per issue basis.
Right.
Because really, no two people would have. You could have the same problem, seemingly so, but you see, the thing is nuanced. Context even two people are raised by the same parents and have different experiences of the same parents.
Perspective.
Different experiences of the same parents.
Very true. Very
true.
Very true.
That's another reason why people don't open up. People say, if I tell you now, you use my story as gossip.
Yeah, or you judge me with it, or it's coming up in conversations. I hear that.
So a lot of people are scared to open up and say, see what I'm going through, because the person is scared. You go drink there now.
And then everybody's hearing about it.
Or
you tell your best friend. You not tell, that's how the story has gone around.
I had a very interesting conversation with my sister. I'm not sure if it was this year or last year, because I realized that as much as two of us are uniquely close to our mom, our relationships are different. And then when we got from the conversation, I realized that our experiences of our same mother different. So that is what informed the relationship, the unique relationships we have with her.
Oh,
do you understand? And bringing it down to the gender thing, I also realized that as we rightly said, women kind of have a way of creating safe spaces for each other and are vulnerable with each other.
Right.
Because I said to my sister one day, check on my brother. Do you check on him? She's like, yes, I do. He's fine. I said, because I have you have me. We have mommy. But the men now, everybody's doing macho.
Yeah.
So we need to check in with them and make them know that it's safe to talk to us.
I'm here
and we are here. And there are times when my brother will call me and I would leave everything I'm doing. And he's quite an orator, as you might know.
Yeah.
So he could keep me on the phone for 4 hours and I'm just listening. That could be his own way of venting.
Yeah.
It might just not even be venting, but just touching off, letting off steam, So
this is interesting. So I hear you when you said we should try to eliminate the use of some words, when we're talking to people and all of that. Because sometimes you hear, somebody's talking to about something of great concern to them, something that really bothers them, and then somebody's saying, oh, it's in your head.
All in your head.
Or
really?
It's not that serious. Or is that it?
Like, if I'm opening up to you to tell you stuff, I'm expecting you to tell me, encourage me, try to make me feel.
Oh, sit in silence.
Do you understand?
All it requires is for you to just sit in silence. Just listen.
Okay, so sometimes, even for me, when I'm talking to you about something and you're silent, I feel like I was talking to myself the whole time.
So I think that in cases like that, people are at different points in their relationships and how they relate with each other. I'm very communicative.
Yeah.
So I might ask you, what do you expect of me? Do you want me to advise you? Do you want me to hold space for you? Because sometimes people are talking to you, they don't necessarily want your advice.
Just want to vent.
Just want to vent. Just want to know that they can just
talk to somebody
and let that thing off. So I'm not sure that I would feel awkward if I spoke to somebody and the person sat in silence. Because people always say sometimes, like when people lose somebody, I don't know what to say. You don't have to say anything. You just go there, you sit down.
Because you lose somebody and then somebody's coming to say.
And then again, it depends on who you're talking to. If you know the person you're talking to. Some people like to be all touchy cuddly. Some people like you to say something. Some people like you to be quiet.
If I'm talking to somebody who I'm very, very close to, or somebody who I'm even intimate with, okay, and you're quiet. I'm wondering, okay, what's going on here? Was I talking to myself the whole time?
So would you rather the person said something that is not really helpful?
No, but something to just make me feel like you heard me the whole time I was talking.
So I get things like I hear you. I hear what you're saying.
To be fine, or just say something. Don't just.
So that's the thing. People are different.
That's what I'm saying. Depends on who you're talking to.
I think the worst thing you can say to somebody who lost personally, to somebody who lost a loved one, is God
knows
best, or knows why it happens
at that initial stage,
or it's God has called his own. Are you not God's own? How about you go?
Exactly. Yeah.
Do you understand? So, but to some people, it might be comforting. But
so I have a friend. This is who's a guy. When he lost his mom, He said his friend came to him and he was really emotional, because he really did love his mom. So he was crying. He was like,
be a man.
Is over, be a man and everything is, everything is going to be fine. And so, some months or a year or down the line, the same person lost their own parent too. So he went back and he returned favor.
Brace up.
Brace up.
I told him, welcome to the club.
Because you can't just come and tell me, and it's okay. It's like what we said that men, they are quickly judged, so they seem to recoil. You can't tell a man who is strong, who is vulnerable at that point. He's lost someone, for heaven's sake. And loss is not gender, Loss is loss for male, for female. You're not going to see this person for the rest of your life again. So it's okay for you to express yourself. It's okay for you to cry. I tell people it's okay for you to cry.
But I've also heard men say or brag about how they navigate issues like that. Like when they have a very big breakup, that their guys will just come and say, "Oh, more, and you first break up."
That's
coping mechanism.
It's a coping mechanism.
And
for them, that's why I say
women like,
don't make people feel.
That's why I say for them it's a thing of shame and weakness.
Okay.
But when you get a man in a space where he's comfortable and vulnerable, you will be
really
shocked.
see.
You will be shocked. A man that is all
I know.
Audacious outside.
Are you serious?
Just give him that space where he knows that you're not judging him. You don't see him less of a man. You don't see him in a negative light. He's like a baby. He will cry, sir. But outside, especially in front of their peers, they are
So how can we fix that? How do you think we can fix that?
Yeah, practical tips to, break the stigma. How can
I think it starts from the home, though.
Yeah, but in a case that we're dealing with adults, there are too many broken people walking around.
Yeah, I'm saying that, let's
how to avoid it
because our own is gone. We have to resolve our issues by ourselves. We have to navigate our traumas and hopefully heal from them.
Right.
But now, as young women who are possibly raising children or likely to raise children, mentoring young people, we are godparents or in whatever capacity, right? How do we help both genders realize that it's okay not to be okay?
It starts from the home.
Yeah.
And I think it's okay to tell people that it's fine for you to speak to somebody. Start small.
It's okay. Start from the home. The same way you give your girl child that room to come and say, "Mommy, give your boy child."
Yeah, don't go say things like you're a man.
You say you're a man. Stop crying.
I hear that a lot. Even
I just said it. It irritates me.
In their,
don't do that.
Why are you crying?
You're a boy. Yeah, you're a man.
This thing is really deep-rooted because sometimes, even with all our level of self-awareness, we still get caught up making some utterances we shouldn't be making.
Yeah.
Right? So we still have those little biases of, men, this little girl, you don't know, so you're not rich to marry. All those subtle things that, cause this problem. So I think that maybe we should be more conscious of how we engage the younger people, right? Continue to deconstruct and make them feel comfortable and don't base anything on gender, right?
Yeah. And I also feel that if we educate ourselves, if we read about those things,
very important.
If we ourselves go through the healing
about these things, then we'll learn empathy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We learn understanding.
I didn't understand depression at all until I got more active on Twitter. Honestly, the number of things and the quality of things I've learned from reading and, hearing people talk about these things is the reason I believe everybody can also get educated. You don't have to have a first-hand experience in anything to be compassionate or empathetic.
No.
You just need to be open to having a different perspective from what you're used to and knowing that there could be other possibilities.
Be open to learn
outside what it is that you know.
Because I feel like if you educate yourself, if you read on all this, read up on all these things.
Like I always tell people,
you're more understanding, you're less judgmental. Then you begin to understand why somebody's acting in a certain way. You begin to understand why.
Even though some people are mad,
No, we know that one already.
Yeah,
It's a given,
those ones they.
But then, we just try not to judge people.
Yeah.
That's another problem we have. People are too myopic in this part of the world.
I think I was having a conversation with
we are in that box.
Yeah.
And a lot of people feel that that's all the world is about. There's a whole lot.
The world is very dynamic.
There's a whole lot going on outside this box that you're in. So people need to come out of that box and open their minds and be willing to educate themselves, unlearn and relearn a lot of things,
and think beyond your context. A lot of times people are just, and sometimes when people say things to me now, that's because I'm grown or I'm more educated. I just feel like the person is saying this from the person's limitation of people are a product of their families, orientation, exposure, environment,
society.
Do you understand? So, first of all, you don't take it as an attack. That's not the first thing to do when people talk to you in a way that you find weird, right? That is the much they know. So when you begin to say things like that, you have less problems with people, you judge less, you just come from a place of, you say you should know better, you should know for talk this kind.
Do you understand? I think I went to a boarding school. We went to a boarding school. I don't know if you went to a boarding school. But when you went to a boarding school, you're able to tolerate different categories of humans, people. To be honest. Because you meet the good, the bad, and the ugly. You meet the good, the bad, and the ugly. So where you can't stand the ugly, you can just, but you just find a way to navigate and, and relate with them on different levels.
I think that's one of the best things I've done for myself, to first of all see people as a product of how they even got here. If somebody is very competitive in a negative way, I begin to make excuses like maybe the person had to fight to prove themselves in their family. Maybe the person is from a polygamous home where you literally had to raise your voice to be heard, right? So
when you were taught to outdo the other person's, the children from the other wife.
I would always just create that context to make room for the person's character, because really we're a product of.
But then the bad side of that is that a lot of people use those excuses
to do what
to justify bad behavior.
Because some of my
why can't you do this? I was raised in a certain. You're an adult in your 30s, for God's sake. You can do something about it. My friends
tell me I make excuses for my friends a lot, but I like to give you the benefit of doubt. Maybe you're like this because maybe you didn't have so much love growing up. Maybe
I can only make that excuse for.
So for me, let me just make something clear. Making excuses for somebody doesn't mean I will not remove myself
from that situation.
Because it's not my responsibility. While I empathize with you, I think the first rule of life is self-preservation. I have to preserve myself first, so that I make excuses for you. Doesn't mean that I will now give you and try to resolve problem that I don't even understand the context. Do you understand? I'm just saying, don't pick unnecessary quarrels because you think somebody's coming for you. I promise you, nobody's coming for you. People are dealing with traumas from different. I don't take my upbringing for granted, right? I understand how privileged I am to have been raised in love. So I don't take it for granted and assume
that everybody had the same.
Everybody. You get?
Yeah. Because I remember when my house was complete, all my siblings, my mom, people had not left the house, and my friends come to the house on short holidays and they are crying when they are leaving. But they say there's so much love in your house. So I lost my dad when I was 19, and my mom was in her late 40s at that time. So at some point, we started to see our mom as our elder sister. I mean, she's still that authority figure in the house, but we formed this bond. First of all, we felt like we needed to protect her, first of all. And then I think it was the way we were raised too. So when people come to the house, they say to us, you guys are so free in your house. Like, everything is just, people are, I don't know, it's cruise. We are laughing, we are gisting, doesn't mean that you should cross the line. But my mother will show you where she's your mother. You know, but there's always this love. So my friends say there's so much love in your family. You guys are family oriented. There's so much love in your family. You guys are closely knit. It's kind of hard. So when I hear people say it's hard to find this in some homes,
it is.
I'm wondering. I'm like, okay, yeah. I didn't understand it until I started to, you know, as I became adult enough to understand these things, to know that people were raised differently.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm really privileged to be raised with so much love in my house.
While I don't judge you, I don't have to be with you. Yeah.
True. And then I've also learned to take myself away from triggers.
Yeah. You can't heal in the same environment that's traumatizing.
Yeah.
True.
I've learned to take myself away from triggers. If I realize that being your friend robs me of the other one, you disturb my mental health, so to speak, I'm staying away from you. I'm not quarreling with you. I just want to detach myself from you.
And the one thing I make sure to do is to communicate it. I don't ghost.
I mean, because I say you. This is how I feel about this.
How I feel.
So I give you some space.
Yeah.
Which is good.
I give you some space.
Though most people don't understand it.
Because some people just feel like, oh, you just like to talk. And no, I'm expressive. I like to communicate. And so when I'm dealing with somebody who's not communicating, it kills me. It kills me because I communicate. I'm very expressive. So I tell you, this is exactly the way I feel about this thing. It's okay if you don't understand, but I've told you how I feel about it. And I just go quiet. I've told. I mean, you know the reason why I'm quiet anyway. Because I told you.
So what we have discussed now, like in public health, we say that there is what we call a bottom-up and top-down approach. We've addressed families as bottom-up.
Yeah.
How do you think perhaps we can adopt some top-down approaches to improve mental health awareness in Nigeria?
So I feel like people should. I think people should start to create communities and avenues for people. You know, you talked about the church. While we go to the church to worship, we can also go to the church to speak. You know, like a home therapy. Just the way we go to hospitals when you're not feeling well. The church should not just be a place that you go to worship on Sundays.
I mean, therapy is so expensive, you know.
I know.
And I don't think it's in the health insurance package.
It's not.
It's not.
So it's one thing we can't cover look into. Even if it's 5 sessions.
It's not.
It's not covered at all.
It's quite expensive.
Yeah, it is.
So it's luxury.
But I also think that
But it can
come together and form, like I said, community. But you know,
that's a good place to start. But you see, there's such a thing as professional therapists who is equipped to help you.
Yeah.
Right? Because I feel like sometimes when you offload trauma on people, they may not be ready to receive it.
Yeah. Trust me.
Be careful on how. There's some therapists that even run away from their clients.
Ask me, I will tell you about it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Sometimes it's overwhelming, and then again, it's a little bit challenging because it's a new thing in this part of the world. You get so it's like a new market you're trying to sell. You know, for people to say, "Oh, you can come and speak to me about something that is bothering you, and you're safe," and all of that. So
But
so like you said,
some people really train for Nigeria, or people, you know, that just like.
So I need to understand.
I don't know, but
people say therapist. They study psychology.
What does it take to be a
To be a therapist, what does it
you
take?
go and you study to be a therapist.
So what do you have to study?
Alternative medicine, like in my case.
Okay.
Alternative medicine.
Well, I'm sure there are different routes.
So you do different, depends on what you want to major in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
But some people will just decide that because
they've seen two things.
Let me. I will not be coach. I'm a
Instagram account.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I understand.
Oh, so alternative medicine.
Yeah.
There are different areas that you can major in.
Yeah.
I see. I think
So it's a whole, like I've had cases where someone comes in for a massage, you get, and during your consultation, it's normal consultation, and then the whole session changes to something
because
else.
the therapy session.
So you realize that It's not a massage the person actually needs. The person needs to unburden something.
Wow. So how do you handle this as a therapist? How do you handle it?
Like I said, I've learned to professionally detach myself personally and see the situation for what it is.
When I was going to ask you a question, I was going to say that if somebody, because you offer several services around what's it called, wellness, right?
Mm-hmm.
If somebody came for massage and begins to talk to you, it becomes a therapy session. Are those two packages, or can you run it as the same bill the person had paid?
It depends. If, for example, someone comes in for a massage and we end up talking, we can talk that first. Then I tell you, this is what you need, because it can't be one session.
Okay.
When it comes to the therapy, it can't be one session.
So that's like consultation.
You kind of mind how deep you go into the conversation?
Yeah. So it depends on the person and the situation.
So it becomes tricky.
Yeah.
But also, massage is to relax, and talking is part of it.
Relaxation.
Yeah. But sometimes it's, how do I put it? The situation is beyond physical. Massage is more physical. You're just coming to relax. I've had a bad day. I ache here or I ache there. I've had a situation where a lady came in for a massage. She actually came in for a massage. We did the conversation, everything. But the moment I laid my hands on her, she burst out crying.
And that's how you said that like a pastor.
The moment the massage started, she was wailing.
Are you serious?
I said she was wailing. She burst out. She was wailing.
Did she know you were her?
No.
So she wasn't trying to
take
advantage of you.
But so this is somebody who had,
she had it up to here. She had it up to here. So sometimes that connection is there. And what I just did was just hold her. She was crying and she was shaking.
Something funny happened to my friend recently.
And then,
So she had gone, for her case, the reverse was the case. The masseuse was now on body on her. I'm just like, how did the person know you were quick to handle this weight of information? She said no. And she doesn't know why people feel so comfortable to talk to her.
Sometimes it's aura.
Relax, and then you're losing so much on me.
Sometimes it's your aura.
In terms of this gist, I said, you self-hold.
I don't want to be a part of it.
Sometimes it's the aura. Sometimes it's the aura. Some people that just have that aura of, I can talk to you. You're comfortable. There's just.
Abroad they say trigger warning. Nigerians,
they don't know. No, there's no trigger warning for Nigerians. They don't say
dump it.
Dump it. Hold it first. I'm coming. I know you're
They just dump it like that. So you get stuff like that. You get people like that. So yeah. So if we can create the awareness, people know that, because sometimes they say, you can pay therapists just to talk.
People have that perception. I'm going to pay so much
just to talk.
Why?
But the moment they start, they find out that I actually feel better.
Yeah.
I actually feel better.
I think it's taking the first step.
Yeah.
Taking the first step.
But it should make it cheaper, Sean.
So what I normally do.
I don't even think that.
It should be a lifestyle. It shouldn't be something you just go and do 3 sessions and go away. Because if you make it more affordable,
more people
you have more people. You have the numbers, right? Yeah.
So I think make it affordable, create more awareness on it,
and then
and watch your numbers increase.
Now, what I do, my first session is always free. It's always free.
Done some stuff.
I make my first sessions always free.
And it has to be stuff, so that will be
how are friends and family supporting business now?
But then we just
so
everything's on you, and then we go like.
I also think that if we continue to have these conversations, maybe the government can also consider
step in.
funding it. Just the way we have this 1% from our consolidated revenue to tend to vulnerable groups for health insurance. We could also maybe tax something like sugar or alcohol
and push it
towards this cause. So I think that it needs funding.
Because to be honest, lots of Nigerians, lots of people.
Trust me, a lot of people are damaged out there.
Nigeria is a deeply dysfunctional.
Oh, really? Do you understand?
And now we're talking about even raising kids. A lot of us need healing.
We are damaged already. Then imagine the damaged person raising children.
Thank you. At large,
In this context now, let's still let out to Nigeria.
I always say that not everybody should be a parent.
No.
Not
To be
everybody.
honest, because there are lots of damaged people out there. Imagine a damaged person raising a child.
Not everybody should even be in a relationship to start with.
Damaged people. So if we begin to destigmatize being single on your own and dealing with your traumas, maybe people would also embrace possibility.
And first of all, when you're saying being single, first of all, when people say, "Oh, what's for a single person? When are you getting married?" Excuse me. Is that not disturbing my mental health? I'm just saying. I'm just asking.
That's a whole different conversation.
Exactly. That's another episode.
When are you getting married? Really?
You understand?
For real, that's
Oh my god.
my mental health.
Nigerians have all these criteria by which they judge people. If you're not a grounded person,
It's going to bring
It
you
will
down.
carry you.
That's why I press you. It will depress
It will
you.
carry you. It will carry you.
that's why it's good to build your child's self-esteem.
Yeah.
Because if you're not grounded, like
If you have low self-esteem, that's a problem. It will get to you. People will get to you easily.
very easily.
People will get to you easily. And you find yourself trying to, last track, and next thing you're touching it.
Like you're all over the place.
All over the place.
Because what do you want to defend and what do you want to...
Yeah, people pleasing. People pleasing. And I know that's something that I say to my mom. So sorry, I'm not going to do people's pleasing. And she's looking at me like, I'm child that I was. But I'm not people. I'm not pleasing people. You're going to end up pleasing people all the rest of your life, and then you're going to lose yourself trying to please people.
True.
No. You can't make me do what I don't want to do. No. You can't. So, I don't know. This is a very deep topic.
We haven't even scratched the
We haven't scratched the surface. We can't even...
We've touched on some things that resonate with people, would start the conversation and make people more open to address.
Take small steps.
Share their experiences.
Your personal experience with a family member that you trust,
Please,
a friend.
that safe space for people. It's very important.
I try. I try, honestly.
Everyone's looking for safe space when you are not even the safe space.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Do you understand? Like if each and every one of us can make that conscious
Effort. Yeah.
to be a safe space.
Something as little as just listening to somebody.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I'm in a cab and I'm not one that likes maybe the cab guy to keep yapping.
Yeah, have a conversation.
But there are some times that, you hear some things, maybe he makes a comment or she makes a comment and you say, just a little, oh, I'm sorry.
Now you see where I say somebody's trying to vent and you're quiet. You see that? Helps. It helps.
And the person just goes.
You're listening.
The person just goes all out and just talks and talks and talks. And when the right ends, the guy will just say, "Thank you, ma, for listening."
Yes. And it's
I feel better.
Get to talk to somebody.
The one I'm going
Okay.
And it makes me happy when I know that, I've been that person for that person at that time. Yeah, it means the world to me.
I remember when I was at a former job, I was trying to move from the branch where I was to another branch, and unfortunately, this other branch was where I lost my brother. Okay.
Ooh.
So I was at that branch before this whole thing happened, but after I lost him, it became some certain areas in that branch I would not even go close to, at least for the most part. So when I was told I had to go back, I had this. First of all, I had some people didn't know, but I had this very bad case of PTSD. Okay,
Trauma.
After that loss. So I try to say that I feel very unsure. Going back, I don't feel very comfortable going to that place, knowing that I lost my brother because it's a trigger already, for me. And this professor just goes, I'll come off it. I'm like, whoa. Wow.
Well, a lot of times, and most times, unfortunately, so many healthcare professionals are
negligent. Got the problem.
What's the word now?
Detached? What now?
Sensitized, if that's the word.
They are detached. Yeah.
Very dead body as if
it's like normal.
Yeah, so they kind of get desensitized.
So when you said that, I felt like, is this saying this from the point of, it's used to, are you trying to make this is me expressing the way
it's playing down on how you feel.
Are you trying to,
but you know that I think it could also be a trauma response.
I was about to say that.
Please explain to me how.
So what is that?
Now, he's like you said, some people have seen so much dead bodies that it's not anything to them anymore. Like my youngest is a doctor, and sometimes when she talks, I'm like, why are you evil? You could speak with so much.
My sister is a nurse, I would say that.
Like you just say things like
it's normal.
If you don't take a medicine, you die.
and you ask yourself, whoa, you don't have feelings anymore.
So some people have gotten to that point where it has snapped.
Yeah, but I just feel like
so they're not personally trying to hurt you.
I know.
Yeah.
Then again, we had talked about what's your choice of words.
So how I would look at that too is, where is it coming from? Where is it from?
Yes. What has he seen? What has he experienced?
What is he trying to say?
Way of deflecting.
Thank you. Of dealing with the denial.
Please don't deflect that way. Don't deflect on me. Say a word like that.
That's how a lot of people deal with issues.
Yeah.
They'd rather be mean.
Yeah. Just like when we're in primary school, now when a boy likes you, will not be mean to you. Have you been able to explain that?
Some people rather be mean to you than show that, it's not like that. It's reverse psychology. They don't want to show, they feel showing that, it's weakness. Exactly. Show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a woman would have just said, help you. She doesn't say,
you'll be okay.
Just say, I understand, Sha. It's not like that. So,
the very first time I saw my dad cry was when he was burying his mom. Yeah. When he was talking. That's when I knew that this is serious. But my mom cries every day. Don't watch me, she will cry. If you come back here, she will cry. So,
is that how blackmailing somebody? Yeah, I think for my dad, he was, macho had, well, once in a while, we see him break down. Towards the time when he died, whenever he was on admission and he looks at us, he starts crying. Because he was scared of what may happen.
Yeah.
He was scared of what may happen. So he keeps saying, my wife and children. And whenever I see him cry, it breaks me. It breaks me. And I remember I asked the guy once, somebody was close to, and I said, how do you handle, what's it called now? How do you handle emotions, how do you ever cry? Do you? And he's like, no. I'm like, so be human. How can you not cry? So don't guys cry?
Mm-hmm.
Some do.
Once in a while. I've seen my brothers cry.
Some do. A lot don't, or a lot hide because they see it as a form of weakness.
Wow, okay. We've just scratched the surface of this conversation. And I think that we should have part 2, a part 3, a part 4, a part 10 on this particular topic. But our takeaways: learn to talk to people, take small steps to talk to people, mind what you say to people, choice of words you said, And then we talked about creating communities, creating safe spaces for people to come and talk about things that bother them, to come and unburden. This will actually help people with mental health issues. And also, we said educate yourself, read a lot about these things. It will help you be more empathetic towards people with mental health issues. It will help you understand where they are coming from.
I think that we need to start practicing that language now. Because when you say people with mental health issues, we already agree that everybody has mental health is a continuum.
Okay.
Right? So,
where you're stronger, help somebody else. Where you need help, seek help.
And it could also be a thing of timing.
Mm-hmm.
So it looks like where you're strong,
exactly.
Just like physical health. So yeah. So.
And we've also said mental health ranges from mild to severe. Okay. Thank you so much.
It's been a nice chat.
It's been a nice, amazing conversation. I enjoyed every bit of it
as well.
Thoroughly.
Same here.
So now, viewers, we know that if you are dealing with a therapist, please look for Ify. Look for Ify. Now we have heard from her. We've heard her speak, and we know she's very passionate about what she does, and she detaches. She does it. She wears a professional cap when she's doing therapy. Thank you so much, Ify. Thank you for coming on here.
Thank you for having me.
We'll go. I know that I'm coming for those lovely. We don't do boring frames anymore. We don't do boring frames.
I'm definitely going to have
psychedelic frames that you want. You should go to iPlace.
It's interesting that when I get on such platforms, I don't even know where
anyone.
I was gonna wear one today, blame it on her. I was gonna wear one. I'll wear it in the next episode. I was gonna wear one today. But you should see her pieces. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Thank you guys. Thank you. And to my viewers out there, please like, share with somebody, subscribe. You all are doing amazing well so far. And please drop comments. Leave comments for us. Thank you so much and Merry Christmas.
Mwah.